Hi there, everybody. This is Carrie Hamblen, the CEO and president of the Las Cruces Green Chamber of Commerce, coming to you again with one of our special Zoom chats that we're doing all leading up to Southern New Mexico Giving Day, which is Friday, April 25th. The Las Cruces Green Chamber of Commerce, along with the Community Foundation of Southern New Mexico and the United Way of Southwest New Mexico, are spotlighting all of the Green Chamber members who are participating in Southern New Mexico Giving Day. And today I have the president of the board of directors for the Dyslexia Institute of Southern New Mexico, Dale Yeo, and one of the founders of the Dyslexia Institute, the one and only Ellen Sage. Ladies, it is so lovely to see your faces. How are you doing today?
Doing well, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Carrie, for having us. And thank you to the Green Chamber for this opportunity.
We're very glad to do it. And Dale, I know that like you and I have been talking website code and all sorts of fun stuff, but you do a lot of stuff as the president of the board of directors, and we're going to talk to you in just a minute, but we got to talk to the one who is the mind behind the Dyslexia Institute. Ellen, can you tell us about like how the Dyslexia Institute came about, and how you really kind of developed it into what it is today?
It came about because we were aware of a very, very pressing need. The public schools and private schools have not had the funds to adequately address dyslexia. Children with dyslexia are being tested way too late. They are given inadequate treatment. And Scottish Rite is awesome. I was trained through the Scottish Rite, and most of our therapists also were. So I'll just give a little shout out to Judy Carter and the Scottish Rite in passing. But they have limited ability due to finances also. So when I retired from the public schools, I had an opportunity with a business partner to start sole proprietorship. That was in 2000. And we continued like that, but and our kids were showing really good progress. But parents would come to Kelly and I, hoping that they could get help for their child. And the moms and dads too would just be in tears when they realized that they couldn't pay for it. And at that time, even though our rates were very, very low. So in 2007, I started toying with the idea of going the nonprofit route. My business partner didn't care to join us in that endeavor. So I'll just have to say the Lord provided at every turn the people that were needed, because what we do is so life-changing to the children that we serve.
Well, especially Ellen, if I can interrupt, if that's all right. You know, when you get an early diagnosis of having dyslexia, you wind up having access to tools, and really that's what it is having tools and strategies on how to process words so that they can continue to be equal along with their peers who don't have dyslexia and have the same chances. That's really what you were trying to do, right?
That is absolutely true, and you said it so well. Also, when a child can start dyslexia therapy young, let's say by third grade, the multisensory therapy that we use will actually change the structure of their brain, and they will read normally. Mm-hmm. You'll never know the difference between the dyslexic child and the non-dyslexic child. If they start later, 5th grade, 6th grade, we sometimes start children in high school. The task is much harder, much slower.
Well, you know, I think it's also, you know, in essence, kind of language learning as well when we talk about that, because the earlier you start, your brain is able to adapt and create those different roads in order to process that information. And so that makes a whole lot of sense. When you provide a number of programs for that, and Dale, I don't know if that's where you chime in. You know, we're going to talk about how important it is for donations. And so, you know, with some of those programs, Ellen, you were starting to tease on that. You know, what are some of the programs that the Dyslexia Institute does and offers?
Well, we do we do a program. One of the things we do is evaluation and testing of children, and we don't have the full testing, like a professional would do for an IEP or whatever, but we do evaluation and testing, which tells us whether the children, or actually adults even, would benefit from our program. And so if they would, our therapies, we have reading therapies, but also we have a lot of these children have trouble with math. We have math, and when they've begun to read moderately well, we also have a writing program. And so we have some children working on their writing because this is difficult for them also. And do you have anything else to add, Ellen?
I think you covered it. Thank you, Dale.
Okay.
Well, and Ellen, kind of getting back before I so rudely interrupted you, I'm so sorry. There is a different approach to young people and to adults because, as you had mentioned, kind of the mapping is going to be, there's a lot going on up there when you're an adult, and so you kind of got to go through some rubble and some hills and some valleys to reroute those roads. How do you approach teaching young people in comparison to adults?
We have to make the lessons more relevant to their life. They have busy lives. So we have a different program that's called JET. It was produced by the Scottish Rite Children's Hospital in Dallas. And it goes faster because they don't have a lot of time. And it also is a more grown-up type of program. Mm-hmm. And much more acceptable to teenagers and to adults.
Well, and that makes sense because by the time they're adults, they've heard those words, but not necessarily understand what they look like and the letters that make them. So mm-hmm. there's a little bit more familiarity. It's just kind of making those connections with the words and the shapes of the letters and stuff. And so,
and they don't know how to break the words apart. The programs that we use are very intentional. Very step-by-step and rule-driven, because 90% of the rule of words in English follow somebody's rules. The question is whose rules, because we're but it works. And you would think even these kids learn tons of rules, and you think, oh my gosh, they're never going to assimilate all of this, but they do.
Right. And one of those rules you're talking about is I before E except after C. Right.
That's one of them, but we go way beyond that.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure that many of us don't even comprehend because we haven't had those challenges. We haven't had those different roadblocks that have been just kind of inherently placed into our brains so that we have difficulty reading. So, as we finish up today, you all are participating in Southern New Mexico Giving Day, as well as many of, we've got over 25 nonprofit members of the Green Chamber. What happens when somebody gives to the Dyslexia Institute? How does that help you be able to provide the services that you're continuing to do in the community?
Well, we have two funds. We have a scholarship fund, and the scholarship fund helps families, not only of low-income families, to be able to afford the extensive and program that's provided by well-qualified people, and not only do we consider when we give these scholarships low-income people, we also consider how stressed the family is. Maybe they have unemployment. Maybe they have illness. Maybe they have siblings with dyslexia or other disabilities or other disrupted family structures. But we feel this will help the whole family when we provide help for these financial help for these people. And of course, not only do we have the scholarship program, we have to pay our people and have a place to work, a decent place to work. Right now, we have a lovely place to work. the electronic caregivers building. But so both of these are financial needs for us.
Hmm. Well, I think, you all do such great work, and everybody deserves equal access to being able to read, because we know that that trickles down into so many different things and really provides opportunities for people and opens those doors. And when you don't have those, when you don't have the key to the door, it's really hard to get through it. And so I'm glad that you all are providing those keys and helping folks out. So thank you both for what you're doing.
Okay. And Carrie, thank you for what you're doing through the legislature to
Yeah.
improve reading instruction in the public schools. So
Thank you.
important.
Thank you. I appreciate that. If you'd like to support the Dyslexia Institute of Southern New Mexico through Southern New Mexico Giving Day, you can find the link either above or below. We are getting ready to celebrate the annual Southern New Mexico Giving Day on Friday, April 25th. That will be the day of fundraising extravaganza. And so we certainly hope that you will help them out. All the information is either above or below. We appreciate it. And you can find the information on how to get in touch with the Dyslexia Institute also in the text, however you're looking at it. Dale and Ellen, thank you. I've known you all for many, many years, and I'm so grateful for all the work that you're doing. So thank you all so much for what you're doing in the community.
Thank you,
Carrie.
All right.
Bye.